morning. My name is Amirul of Sejahtera Center, and it is my absolute pleasure and honor to be your moderator for today's session. And welcome to our event today, which is Global Indigenous Game Webinar. And we are truly honored to have a diverse group of speakers and collaborators who have come together to share their knowledge and insights on the topic of Indigenous people game. From the localities of Malaysia and beyond, we will discover the beauty and intricacies of pastime of the people who have long set their foot in our land. But before that, I would like to extend my sincerest appreciation to our collaborators and esteemed attendees. This event is proudly coordinated by RCE Greater Gombak, IIUM, Wikimedia Malaysia, and the Institute of Teacher Education IPG Kuala Lupis, and of course the UNESCO Chair at York University with the valuable collaboration of the Global RCE Youth Network. To officially begin our event, it is my absolute pleasure and honor to invite Professor Zainal, the Director of Sejahtera Center for Sustainability and Humanity of IIUM, to give an opening speech. The floor is yours, Prof.
Hi everyone. Good morning. Assalamualaikum. Salam sejahtera. Thank you to everyone who are in. Ready to play sports early in the morning and late at night for Charles and whoever around the world. I've been struggling myself on this thing. I cannot show it. The kerchang this morning. Thank you for the speakers as well who will be speaking today. I would assume the three appear on the screen would be sharing their experience and how to further promote these games that they have. At RCE, at IIUM, we are very proud of having to know the kind of games that we actually have. Yeah, we are seeing the Olympics happening now, but we wish one day there will be one of these traditional games or indigenous games that will be one of the games that will be competing there. I don't know which one, maybe the sumpit or the kerchang, whatever. Yeah, at least that will partly promote the sustainability of the games and the excitement of that game, which actually has a lot of wisdoms behind. So this webinar that we have here, I hope everyone are aware of it, that this is part of a series of events that we have to really appreciate, internalize, embrace the diversity and inclusivity of the indigenous knowledge. And of course, indigenous knowledge would include the people who carry them. So with that note, join us for many series of events that will be taking place for 2 months, I guess, at least, being done scatteredly throughout the 2 months period, so that we can really get a feel of this indigenous knowledge, indigenous games, indigenous spirits, and etc. Yeah. So with that remarks, I would like to welcome everyone, and I would like to thank the speakers. Fatin, we were there at your IPG yesterday, but unfortunately we didn't get to see each other. But it's so glad to see you here, and I guess the other two speakers we met during the Takrim. Michelina and Gilorisa. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. So let's enjoy and see what they have on the table for us to enjoy the games. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Zainal. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our first two presenters for today. Um, Hopefully I pronounce your name correctly, Gilorisa John and also Michelina Michael, representing Wikimedia Malaysia. They are also the member of Community User Group Malaysia and alumni of Ken Tuaran Teacher Education Institute, IPG. Both of them will be discussing on Sabah Indigenous Game. As we all aware, Sabah, with its wide variety of cultures, numerous traditional indigenous games that reflect the distinct cultural history of its people, including buckwheat, lansaran, and rampanau. This beloved custom showcase the vibrant cultural legacy of Sabah indigenous communities. So without further ado, Jilarissa and Michelina, the floor is yours.
Hello, can you hear my voice?
Loud and clear.
Uh, my name is Michelina Michael, and my friend, she's trying to join this meeting. She facing issues. Uh, I am from Sabah, Malaysia. I represent Wikimedia Malaysia and also an alumnus of Institute of Teacher Education campus. Just a heads up, we are not expert on indigenous games in Sabah, Malaysia, but we are simply sharing what we know and some insight based on current understanding. We hope you find it interesting and informative. Thank you. Jilorisa. Um, Maybe we can proceed with the presentation. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am thrilled to share with you a journey through the vibrant and diverse world of indigenous games in Sabah, Malaysia. Sabah, situated on the island of Borneo, is famous for its rich cultural heritage, which is derived from the tradition of its various indigenous communities. In this presentation, we will delve into how these traditional games represent more than just pastimes. They are living expressions of cultural heritage, community values, and social cohesion. From the joyful leap of lansaran to the skillful balance required in rampanau and the precision of buckwheat, these games provide insight into how the indigenous peoples of Sabah honor their traditions and strengthen their bond with one another. Let's begin with rampanau. The name of this game varies across different local dialects. It is known as Gegundang, Ranggau, or Minsurukut in some areas, but it is most commonly referred to as Rampanau. Rampanau is a traditional game popular in Sabah, especially among the Dusun community in Tambunan, Keningau, and Ranau. It is often played during the Kaamatan Festival, which celebrates the harvest season. The game symbolizes agility, balance, and the resourcefulness of the community, reflecting their connection with nature. Players walk or run using rampanau, and if they fall, they lose the game. The primary equipment for this game is bamboo poles, which are typically between 3 to 10 meters in length. These poles serve as stilts and are crucial for the game's challenge. Players stand on these stilts, and the length and flexibility of the bamboo require them to balance and maneuver with agility. The use of bamboo adds a traditional and authentic touch to the game, reflecting the materials readily available in the local environment. The base and support for the stilts are made from sago palm branches and hardwood. These materials are used to create a stable platform at the bottom of the stilts, ensuring that players have a firm footing. The sago palm branches provide a traditional and resilient support structure, while hardwood adds durability and strength. Together, they form a solid foundation for the stilts, enhancing both safety and performance in the game. Rampanau is a symbol of the Dusun people's ingenuity and their deep connection to their environment. By using locally sourced materials like bamboo and sago palm, the game reflects the resourcefulness and craftsmanship of the Dusun community. It embodies the traditional skills and knowledge passed down through generations, showcasing their cultural heritage. Beyond being a fun and competitive activity, Rampanau fosters community participation and strengthens social ties. It is often played during festivals and communal gatherings, bringing people together and encouraging teamwork. This aspect of the game helps to maintain and celebrate community bonds, making it a significant social activity. The game also serves an educational purpose by teaching younger generations about traditional values and skills. Through participation, children and young adults learn not only the technical aspects of balancing and maneuvering on stilts, but also the cultural importance of preserving such traditions. It's an engaging way to impart knowledge about their heritage and instill a sense of pride and connection to their cultural roots. Next, game rules of rampanau. In this game, players use bamboo stilts to navigate a designated path. The main goal is to traverse the course without falling. The winner is determined either by the fastest time to complete the course or by being the last person standing without falling. All players begin at a marked starting line. This ensures that everyone starts from the same position. Once the game begins, players must use the bamboo stilts to move from the starting line to the finish line. The course is designed to challenge your balance and speed, requiring careful coordination to avoid falling. If a player falls off the stilts, they are immediately disqualified from the game. The winner is either the player who crosses the finish line first, or in the case of a longer game, the last person remaining balanced on their stilts. To ensure fair play, participants are usually grouped by age or skill level. Before we proceed, let's take a moment to watch a video showcasing rampanau in action. Let's now continue our presentation with Lansaran, a traditional game that is especially popular among the Murut Tahol ethnic group. Lansaran is a traditional game from the Murut ethnic group, which is part of their cultural heritage. Originally, Lansaran was a type of children game. The term Lansaran refers to a large wooden platform or trampoline used in the game. In the Murut language, Lansaran translates to Momolungun Dapapan, which means leaping above the bird. This evocative name captures the essence of the game, where skillful jumps and acrobatics are key to success. Lansaran holds a special place in Murut culture. It is a popular game played during festivals and community gatherings, where it serves as both entertainment and a vibrant display of tradition. The game enhanced the festive atmosphere, bringing people together and highlighting the communal spirit of Murut celebrations. The main objective of Lansaran is for participants to bounce on a specially designed platform known as the Lansaran and achieve the highest possible jump, while in mid-air, players aim to reach and touch Singkawaton, which is an object suspended from the roof. Singkawaton represents a challenging target that players strive to reach through their acrobatic feats and impressive jumps. To continue with our presentation, I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Chilorisa.
Lansaran is classified as a group game and it requires a minimum of 5 people to participate. Players must jump together on the surface of the Lansaran. The aim is to leap high enough to reach Singkawaton, which hangs on Lansaran's roof. In the past, Many children in the village would enjoy running and jumping on felled timber left outside the longhouse. To ensure their safety, the elders decided to build a special play area inside the longhouse for the children. This led to the introduction of the lansaran game as a form of entertainment. Nowadays, lansaran continues to be played and enjoyed during festivals such as the Kamatan Festival and Kalimaran Festival to liven up the festive atmosphere. Next, we will watch a short clip of lansaran taken from YouTube. The next traditional game I will introduce is Bakwit, which is played by the Dusun Tatana community in Kuala Penyu, Sabah. Bakwit is more than just a game. It is a celebration of the Dusun Tatana's rich cultural heritage. It is often featured in various cultural celebrations, weddings, and social gatherings. As a prelude to the main event, Bakwit engages participants in a vibrant display of skill and community bonding, bringing people together in a festive spirit. The game reflects the unique cultural heritage and social interactions within the community. The game utilizes coconut shells as the primary equipment, with each shell featuring a hole at the top that serves as an identifier for individual players. Bakwit is played in two main formats, individually and in teams. The individual format consists of one-on-one matches, while the team format involves pairs of players competing against each other. Bakwit consists of 6 distinct game stages. The game begins with Langkup, where players start their engagement. The next stage, Kuit, involves specific actions or maneuvers necessary for gameplay. In Tuju, players aim their efforts towards a target or goal. Latuk requires particular skills or strategies crucial for advancing. The Sangri stage tests players' precision and control. And finally, Pata is the concluding stage where players complete their moves and determine the game's outcome. The following video will demonstrate the 6 stages of the Bakwit game. Let's take a look at the rules of the game. In Bakwit, players hold the titles of Main and Pasang. Each player must successfully pass through each challenge or level to advance to the next level. If a player fails to pass a stage, the title of Main changes to Pasang and vice versa. The player or team that successfully passes all the stages is declared the winner. In conclusion, the traditional games of Rampanau, Lansaran and Bakwit are far more than mere recreational activities. They are essential elements of the cultural heritage and identity of Sabah's indigenous communities. Each game holds unique significance, showcasing the creativity, values, and social practices of the Sabahan people. We have cultural significance and unique roles in the heritage of Sabah's indigenous communities. Thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you for the enlightening presentation, Sister Gilarisa and Sister Michelina. I hope the audience here find that presentation as enlightening as I did. So any further questions may be directed at the end of the session. Next, let's continue with a video presentation from abroad showcasing the traditional games of indigenous peoples, specifically the Arctic Winter Games. Established in 1970, the Arctic Winter Games is a biennial celebration of sportsmanship, cultural exchange, and the resilient spirit of circumpolar world. Now, the Arctic Winter Games bring together athletes from regions across the Arctic, including Alaska, Canada, Greenland, and Scandinavia. Now, fun fact, the Arctic Winter Games are the only event where athletes can compete in dene games, like the snow snake, a traditional event where participants slide a carved stake across the snow to see who goes the farthest. Other games include stick pull, finger pull, hand games, pole push, and den wrestling. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us witness the spirit of camaraderie and excellence through this special video presentation capturing the essence of the Arctic Winter Games. Video, please.
This was the symbol of a new era in the North. This was the symbol of a new era in the North.
It all started in 1970, and since then, hundreds of athletes every 2 years have gathered from some of the most remote regions of the Arctic, a chance to celebrate sport and culture. Those early days met with excitement and anticipation. Yellowknife, the first to host a celebration, no doubt. Born out of the idea to provide a forum where athletes from the circumpolar North could compete on their own terms, on their own turf, the Games for decades have offered athletes a chance to shoot, score, and ski, all in the pursuit of winning an ulu, the traditional knife used by Inuit women for living on the land, and the design for the Arctic Winter Games medals, reflecting northern lifestyles and tradition. Upwards of 20 different sports to showcase skill and agility, teamwork, memories forever. Traditional dene and Arctic Games dazzle and inspire, rooted in traditional and cultural values. So many unique events, from the snow snake to pole push, competitors have captivated. The Arctic sports testing endurance and strength, the 1-foot high kick, kneel jump, and knuckle hop. For 48 consecutive years, 24 games took place without fail. From Whitehorse to Anchorage, Yellowknife to Grand Prairie, a chance to come together, share stories, reflect, and also look forward. But there has been waiting for the Games' return. Not since 2018 have the Arctic Winter Games taken place, the pandemic putting on pause for some, a once-in-a-lifetime moment, their Olympics. Now back on Treaty 8 territory, Wood Buffalo, Alberta, the ancestral and traditional land of the Cree, Dene, and Métis people. Teams from Northwest Territories, Yukon, Nunavut, Alaska, Greenland, Nunavik, Northern Alberta, and the Indigenous people, Sami, of Norway, Sweden, and Finland will meet once again. 5 years of emotion, excitement, and build-up. Now their time to shine.
So Finning had an opportunity to sponsor and help out with the Arctic Winter Games. It's very important for Finning to be involved in events like this because it's part of the community. Finning, all across our territory, is embedded in community, and community is a big part of what we do.
It's wonderful to talk with the people, the passion, and listening to employees and customers that are partaking in the events. And then just being here and seeing the smiles and the diversity across the groups and how people are enjoying it and bringing that sense of community back.
Our region is comprised of many nations and communities around, and I think when you're able to send athletes from those communities, there's a sense of pride with that.
When you're talking about what it means to a community, and especially the Indigenous component when people are coming in, I think it's very important because it allows two cultures to learn about each other. I love that, and I'm so glad that Finning is a part of that. The most exciting part of the Arctic Winter Games is the Indigenous component. So there are a number of Indigenous communities that participate in the Arctic Winter Games, and there's actually a component called the Dene Games.
The Dene Games specifically are comprised of 5 events, 3 individual and 2 team events. Pole push and hand games are the team events. Finger pull, stick pull, and snow snake are the individual ones. Obviously, I have the investment in the Dene Games, but from a fan perspective, I don't think you're going to get a better bang for your buck. I think they're super engaging, and you know, the days like hand games or where the Dene drumming is going, and it's hard to not get really encapsulated by it.
To see it in person, to see it live action has been fantastic. And it brings the Indigenous community a little bit closer to the traditional, let's say, Western community, because they're getting the exposure that, you know, we get to see the events, we get to kind of see how they perform it.
Well, I think for me on a coach level, it's kind of my connection to my culture. I was kind of one of those late bloomers in life that didn't explore that side of my heritage early on. So I think it just continues that, passing it on to younger generations. This is my 6th time coaching. So it's definitely keeping that trend going and keeping our culture alive.
Тундрана суровая, она там всему учит. Я как сюда, готовый прошел уже спортсмен.
These games aren't just about kicking a ball. They're more than that.
Our youth, they learn by watching.
Go!
Отечественные игры – это настоящее событие в жизни.
I just want to prove to myself that I can do this.
Okay.
This was the symbol of a new era in the North.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare to delve into the upcoming presentation, I would like to take a moment to introduce a video that beautifully captures the essence of cultural preservation and inclusivity. The video you are about to watch explores the integration of traditional Maori games into a transport event, showcasing how these time-honored practices are not only a testament to the rich Maori heritage, but also serve as an agent for fostering connection and unity among participants. These Indigenous games embody a spirit of community and togetherness, bringing people from diverse backgrounds closer through shared experiences. In the context of this transport event, these games highlight the vital role that cultural traditions play in promoting understanding, acceptance, and social cohesion. Enjoy the video presentation.
New Zealand's national identity has been shaped by an array of influences, and the challenge in recent times has been to ensure that the Maori contribution remains central. The capital, Wellington, is a city steeped in Maori history. This is the Kokiri Marae, the focal point for the local Maori community. It offers a variety of services and plays a crucial role in helping to preserve the cultural identity of these people. John Kingi works here, and he's one of the leading forces behind the revival of a Maori ball game called Kia Rahi. Transworld Sport was keen to find out more.
Māori have this thing where we constantly look into the past to inform our future. It's really, really important that we do that. We try to do that here with the mahi that we get involved with. One of them anyway has been Kia Rahi in terms of health, oranga, well-being.
Kia Rahi contains elements similar to those found in rugby union, Australian rules, touch rugby and handball. 2 teams of 7 compete on a circular field which is divided into zones. Points are scored by touching the po or boundary markers and by hitting a central target known as the tapu. Kia Rahi has been passed down the generations and is bound up in Maori legend or purako.
Kia Rahi, like all good purako, like all good legends, there's always a woman involved, there's always a male involved, there's usually struggle involved, and then what's really important about the purako is every aspect within that purako basically relates to what happens out on the field. Kia Rahi is about conflict resolution.
The game is said to be based on the legend of a young warrior called Rahi, whose wife Teara was kidnapped. Rahi went in search of his wife and encountered a series of challenges along the way. Eventually, Rahi rescued Teara from her captors, but instead of seeking vengeance, he offered them a ball, or ki, as a symbol of peace. Kia Rahi translates as Rahi's ball. With more and more people taking up the sport, communities now travel around the country to play against each other. When Transworld Sport was in town, Kokiri Marae headed to Wanganui, around 200 kilometres north of Wellington, for a match. Before the game got underway, and in keeping with Maori tradition, the visitors presented their hosts with a gift.
I think it's the whole coming together. I mean, there's rugby and a lot of people are right at rugby, but Kia Rahi is a reasonably new sport, so people are finding their own groove and learning it in their own way. So in a sense, we're mastering it before it's come out anywhere else.
Today, 2 main forms of the game exist. There's the full contact traditional Kia Rahi, as illustrated in this game, and there's also the variation that youngsters tend to play. A touch rugby style game in which 2 flags are worn on a belt around the waist. Players are effectively tackled by the removal of one of the flags. Both men and women play this sport, and often the teams are mixed.
If I could describe it to anybody on the outside looking in, picture putting dodgeball and rugby league or rugby together. I mean, the physicality with it, it's skill based. A lot of people can't do what we're doing out there. A lot of people find it harder. We've had a few rugby stars and rugby league people have come along on board to give it a try, but they have failed. I think the involvement is a lot of skill based.
The rules can vary from region to region. A process called tattoo before the game determines which rules the 2 sides will abide by. However, what doesn't change in Kia Rahi games is the point scoring system and the layout of the pitch. The field of play is separated into zones. Each part of the field represents a key moment in the storyline of the Rahi legend. There are areas representing the world, a lake, and the island on which Rahi became trapped. Each match is played over 4 quarters, with the 2 teams alternating between 2 roles, the Kioma and the Taniwha. The Kioma's team's basic aim is to score tries, while the Taniwha team earns points by hitting the centre target. The Kioma team score by touching the ball on one of the boundary markers and then running into the pauero without being tackled. It's a fast-paced game and the rules and scoring system can appear complex at first. Yet players pick up kia rahi very quickly and they're soon hitting the tapu with ease.
It's not just a game, it's a cultural practice. There's things in there that when it's being delivered or being played at the highest level, some really amazing things start to happen. You have references to our cultural beliefs that are in there. You have whanaungatanga, which is our word for relationships. There's a whole heap of things that come into play when it's delivered at its highest level.
Kia rahi continues to go from strength to strength, particularly in schools across New Zealand. Many have added it to their curriculum, and there's a hugely successful nationwide secondary schools competition. Through sport, the young generation in New Zealand is learning more about the culture and values of the Maori people.
For kia rahi to survive and for it to keep thriving, it's going to take more than our generation. We're part of the initial spark, I guess, but for it to flourish, for it to survive, it's going to take more than that. It's going to take future generations, it's going to take my girl and her kids for it to be in a place where it's truly healthy and out of the realm of revitalised in another space, you know, in a healthier space.
New Zealand's national identity has been shaped by an array of influences. And the challenge in recent times has been to
Thank you for the video presentation. And now, let's hear from our third presenter, Sister Fatin, from Institute of Teacher Education, IPG, Tengku Ampuan Afzan Campus, Kuala Lumpur. She will discuss about one of Malaysia's indigenous games, the sumpit. Please welcome Sister Fatin.
Hello.
Thank you.
Is it my turn now?
Yes, Sister Fatin, it's your turn.
But I couldn't share the screen.
Oh, you couldn't?
Hello. Yes.
Try again.
Okay. Can you guys see it?
You can see it. Thank you, Fatin.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to share with all of you about my indigenous game. So today, I am going to share with all of you about sumpit as a potential heritage. And my name is Fatih Atira, anak perempuan Muhammad Rizal. Just a minute. So this is a quick overview about what I am going to present today. As you already know, cultures, it plays the roles of manifesting practices, and civilization refers to the cultural behavior. So both culture and civilization, they're interpreted in various, So both culture and civilization, they're interpreted in various contexts, whether in oral or written form. Written works, in particular, that are a very invaluable treasure because they serve as references in nation's historical heritage. However, the tools, especially those categorized as hunting weapons like sumpit, they have continuously lived on in the heritage of indigenous people for generations. So today I'm going to talk about sumpit. I'm going to share with all of you about sumpit. Yeah. So what is sumpit? Sumpit itself actually serves various purposes, such as hunting animals and as a weapon to protect our family member. So the use of sumpit itself is actually reflects the value of bravery, diligence, and resilience. So what I want to tell you that sumpit is actually the must-have weapons in indigenous community. So I've already told you roughly about sumpit. Right now, I want to bring the history of sumpit to all of you. So in Malaysia, we indigenous people are divided into 18 different tribes, and one of them is Tamai. Yes, one of them is Semai. And I'm sorry. And one of them is Semai. And this is the story, the history of sumpit from the perspective of Semai, because different tribes, they may have different story about sumpit. So what did the Semai people believe is that the history of sumpit, they're rooted in the mythological story of Bahlul, in which, according to the legend, to build a life, open fields, and establish a family, one must be very skilled in sumpit use. Okay, so from here, you can see the importance of sumpit in my community, in our indigenous community. So what does sumpit look like? So this is the long pole that you're seeing here is sumpit, and this is the closer version, the closer look of sumpit. This is where you put your mouth at. This is the mouthpiece, and then the dart. We don't call it dart, but we call it dama, and we will put it in the hole and we'll blow. It may sound easy and simple, but it is really not, because it really needs the precision and your breath control in order to make the dharma goes further. Okay. So right now I'm going to share with all of you a little bit about the background of sumpit. I want you to know that we did not make sumpit from just any type of bamboo, but we made it from selected bamboo. So the selected bamboo, the Semai people, they call it suwar. So the bamboo suwar, the suwar bamboo can reach the length of nearly 12 feet, because we did not just, we did not just make the sumpit out of any bamboo. Okay, so we use the suwar bamboo. Okay, so as I already told you earlier, that we use sumpit as a hunting weapon. So before we use sumpit to go hunt, we will coat it with ipoh latex. So where do we find this ipoh latex? This is it. This is ipoh tree, and from ipoh tree we will extract the sap from ipoh tree, and then we will cook the sap, and we'll make it like latex. It will turn into latex, and it will turn into latex, which acts immediately, and we will kill the target of the blow. Okay, because we use it for hunting, right? But in certain region, they will mix the ipoh tree sap with frog eggs to enhance its potency. But in my place, we just use ipoh tree sap only. Okay, so right now I'm going to share with all of you how to make sumpit. Okay, so the suwar bamboo, the suwar bamboo, we will use, we will go and find the suwar bamboo, and then we will dry the suwar bamboo for several hours, and then we will place it near a fire to make it shinier and to make it straight. Okay, and then the next process is we will send it down to smoothen its surface. So nowadays you have sandpaper, right? But back in the days, we don't really have sandpaper. So, but we do have this one leaf we call daun pasak. And this leaf have a texture, a very rough texture, and we will use it to set it down the sumpit. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is we will carve it with various design using the available skill. So, you know, producing sumpit is not an easy task because it requires a very high skill and quality craftsmanship. But we, indigenous people, indigenous community, we have this expertise in crafting them because this sumpit has been used since the generation, since our ancestors' time. So right now, I'm going to share with you what is the actual functions of sumpit. So the actual functions of sumpit, we use it for hunting and for protection. So as for hunting, I already told you that we will coat it with tree sap and whatever. And self-protection, as we indigenous people in Malaysia, some of us still live in a jungle, and as you live in a jungle, you are prone to dangers around it, right? So we will use sumpit to protect ourselves from any dangers coming from wild animal and stuff. Okay, so that is the function. That is traditional function of sumpit, but sumpit nowadays, I can see that it has the potential to be recognized as a national sport icon, including in Malaysia, because we are talking in context of Malaysia. And it also should be promoted as sport accessible to all people and various ethnicities, because it is very important to be recognized as national sport, because the new generation of indigenous people nowadays, they has gradually forgotten the skill of producing and using the sumpit. Yeah. So today I'm going to share with all of you how to use sumpit. So you can basically so in order for you to make a good shot using sumpit, you have to remember to control your breath and make sure that your breath it is coming from your stomach. Okay, so that you will have coming from your stomach, and then the strength of the breath, the range of dharma is actually depends on the strength of your breath. So yeah, this is the video how to use sumpit. So the dharma will go in first, and then you will put cotton. So in this case, you can just blow the dharma without cotton, but the dharma will not go far. So if you want the dharma to go far and hit the target, you must increase its pressure by using the cotton. So just looking at this slide. Okay, and then just wait a minute. Okay, you should hold your sumpit like that, like you want to play volley, and then you have to make sure that your eyes have sharp position and aim towards the target, and then voila. Okay, I'm just going to make it fast. Yeah, that is just the slow motion of the video. And ta-da! It's hit the target. Yeah, and you can see that is the target and that is the dharma, right? Okay. So what I can see is like sumpit as a sport. It can be promoted both locally and internationally. So the potential here is like, you know, the source, and sumpit can also become source of income for indigenous, because from sumpit we have the sumpit makers, sumpit coach, and sumpit referee, and all of this, they can become the that can become the source of income for indigenous people. Okay. So next is this is few alteration and adaptation. This few alteration and adaptation that I want you to know that in Malaysia, we already have sumpit competition, but we don't really turn it into sport because it just mini sport. So this is few, I want you to know that we don't have standard rules about it. So here is few alteration and adaptation that I would suggest that we turn sumpit into, like archery competition, and we use the target board. So the difficulty levels may differ based on the distance between the player and the target board. And the winner will be based on the mark scored based on the position of the dama, and it may be altered to suit the sumpit competition. So this is the alterations and adaptation. As I already told you earlier that we have sumpit competition in Malaysia, but it is just mini sport. And this is how it is conducted in Malaysia. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. This is the participant. And look at him. Aiming at the target and boom. Yeah. And that is sumpit competition in Malaysia. But it is just mini sport. So as a conclusion, to honor indigenous and native communities, the sumpit should be promoted as a sport. And this would indirectly acknowledge the contribution of indigenous communities toward the nation. So I would like to thank to all of you for lending your ears. So I guess that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Fatin, for that wonderful presentation. Perhaps we could play sumpit after this. Okay. Then one more video to present before we end this program is on the Taiwan Indigenous Games. So before we dive in, I'd like to introduce these two short videos that highlight the traditional games of Taiwan's indigenous communities. The first video showcases game day in Nantou Township, while the second focuses on the National Taiwan Indigenous Games. Both offer fascinating insights into how Taiwan preserves the identity and culture of its indigenous peoples at different levels. So I hope you find these insights as inspiring as I did. So let's play the video.
Over in Nantou County, an indigenous township hosting Over in Nantou County, an indigenous township hosted a games competition for the 71st year. More than 1,000 participants tested their skills in archery, tug-of-war, and even pig wrestling.
The winners of the competition will go on to represent the township at a national Bunong festival in May.
Two teams battle it out at tug-of-war. Slowly but surely, the black team is overpowered before the two teams switch sides. The air is filled with excitement. Look close and you'll find that the participants aren't wearing sneakers, but rain boots suited for a muddy field.
It's tradition. On the field, engaged in tug-of-war, we are the best of friends.
Elsewhere, two men are engaged in a wrestling match, both putting their skills to the test. The wrestlers hold on to each other's belts with both hands, and the first to make the other fall on their back or buttocks wins. This year's event has been opened up to younger wrestlers.
In all indigenous communities, wrestling is seen as symbolic of traditional warriors. This year, we also invited elementary school students to participate.
Every year, Nantou County's Xingyi Township holds a Bunong ear shooting festival. For the past 71 years, the festival has been held alongside a games competition. The strongest competitors from each of the township's communities come out to fight for glory.
The winning team will represent Xingyi Township. In May, they will travel to Kaohsiung's Taoyuan district to compete in the National Bunong Ear Shooting Festival and Sports Competition.
Having been canceled for many years, the pig catching competition resumed this year. The event stirred up a sea of excitement with more than 1,000 participants from 14 villages.
The sounds of Taiwan's indigenous people. There are 16 officially recognized indigenous communities in Taiwan, and the athletes from each of these groups are currently gearing up for this year's National Indigenous Games. Kicking off on Friday, Austronesian athletes from various countries will also be competing. In total, more than 8,300 people will take part in 17 events. And for the first time ever, the Maori, the indigenous people of New Zealand, will be there.
Being in Taiwan for the first time is it's a bit of an amazing experience. Different culture, a bit of a culture shock because not many people can speak English, so it's hard to do that communication bit there. But you know, still when you're amongst indigenous people, you just kind of just vibe together, and it's pretty good, pretty choice.
37 Maori athletes arrived last week to learn traditional Taiwanese techniques, and they took the time to perform the famous kapa haka at the opening ceremony. The event aims to deepen exchanges between Austronesian peoples of Taiwan and the wider Pacific region. The games are split into two categories, athletics and tradition. Athletics will feature track and field, basketball, judo, baseball, and other non-Olympic sports. Traditional events, on the other hand, include hunting, weight-bearing, tug-of-war, wrestling, dragon boat racing, and archery. For the competitors, representing their communities is a true honor.
我们参加射箭呢，不为的就是让自己的心灵更上一层，那射箭达到一个最高的境界。那全员运动会，这就是我们的最高境界。所以我们能够今天站到这一起，成为一个台北市的代表队，就是一个光荣。
The event will also feature the totems and languages of various groups for visitors to learn about the indigenous cultures of Taiwan. After today's opening ceremony, there will be a 3-day event featuring indigenous crafts, foods, and cultural events. The games will run until March 27th and are sure to showcase all that Taiwan's indigenous athletes have to offer. Eason Penn and Harrell Hughes for Taiwan Plus.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, we will now open the floor for Q&A session. Please feel free to ask your questions to any of our speakers, or if our speakers want to ask each other questions, then please be my guest. You may also submit your questions using the chat feature or tap open your mic and ask away. Please welcome. Okay, so I'd like to begin. I thought I saw a question on the chat before asking about if the frog poison, is it frog egg? Is a frog egg poisonous? Can any of our speakers take that question? Batin, perhaps?
Yes. I couldn't see the question.
Yeah, the question, yeah. Where's that question?
Is the frog poisonous?
Is the frog egg poisonous? Frog egg?
No, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not. But when you mix it with the sap, it will become poisonous. But for some tribe, they use the venom that they extract from animals like snakes, and they will mix it with the tree sap, the ipo tree sap.
Ah, I see.
Yes.
So it's something that been used often in the sumpit, or just one of the options?
It's just one of the options.
It's one of the options. Okay. Thank you, sister.
All right.
So if there's anyone who wants to ask our speakers, please do.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. Um, this actually is one of the, I think, one of the most fascinating talks I've been listening to this year. Are all these games, I mean, do they still have competitions on a regular basis here in Malaysia?
One of our speakers take that question, please.
For the Sabah Indigenous Games, it's still played as a competition, but only at festival like Kaamatan Festival or
Right,
Kalimaran
okay.
Festival.
Okay, that's nice. It's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Abeda, for the question. So is there more question to come?
Sorry, I have one question.
Yes,
Right.
please, Amirul.
Okay, normally for the sports that the presenters have presented just now, how long does it take for a person to be really good at it? Like, like, is it 1 year or 2 years for us to be considered as a professional?
All right, any of our speakers can try to answer that question. It's okay to just refer to previous experience or perhaps our own friends' experience as reference, maybe.
Uh, for me, for example, the rampanau game, myself, I can play the rampanau very good because you need a stable balance to play that game. For the lansaran, for the first timer, you can
Hello, Michelina, are you all right?
for the lansaran, for the first time you can play the game, but not at pro level. For the buckwheat, me myself, I never played that game before. I only know basic of the game, so I cannot really state time practice times that you need to become a pro player. I hope that will answer your question.
Thank you, Michelina. How about some thoughts from Patin? Patin, what do you think about the question?
Well, I think it usually take a year for you to be very good at it. So you have to focus and do all the stuff that I said earlier in my presentation. So if you do so, it may take a year or more for you to be very good at it.
Thank you, Patin. Thank you to both of speakers for trying to answer that. Okay, is there any more questions from the floor? Okay, I'd like to ask Charles and Catherine, do you have any questions or perhaps comments for today?
Hi, Good evening from Toronto, and thanks for all the presentation. It was quite interesting to follow the different games and the different cultures. And so I'm asking from the Western and sitting in North America, very Western perspective. I was wondering for all of you who are aiming to conserve and also revitalize your games, what do you see is the role of people like us in promoting cultures that are not ours, but that have a value for our cultures as well? So if you could share your hopes that you may have in from webinars like this and from further events where you would hope that your that these games could go. Kind of a question to everyone. Thank you.
For the question, yeah, it's quite challenging. So perhaps our speaker can, all our speakers can try to answer that. Would you like to start first, Michelina?
I hope all of the indigenous games can strive and hope young generation know this indigenous game. You know, the young generation nowadays only play mobile games like Mobile Legends, and they didn't know how to play indigenous game. They only know the name of the game, but they didn't know how to play that game. So I hope young generation put much interest in these indigenous games in the future, hopefully.
Michelina, how about Gilo? Gilo Risa, are you up?
Yes. For me, I hope as a future educator, I hope the traditional games can incorporate into school curriculum to educate students about their cultural heritage. Yes.
Thank you, Sister Gilo. How about you, Fatih? What do you think?
Hello? Okay. So we try to commercial it by having it in school extracurricular activities, then promote it at the international level as a sport. So I guess that is the contribution that the Westerners can do. Yes. So that's all.
Okay, thank you for you guys' insight. I'd like to ask a special insight from Ali and also Farouk, if you're both here, in relation to what you're doing in Wikimedia.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, so thank you very much for especially handling this program while I am away at the moment. So on our end, yeah, actually, when it comes to, I think Farouk from Wikimedia Malaysia can also further explain this, but I think as the RC Youth Coordinator of RC Agrees to Gombak, I think as a youth, we have our own roles to play when it comes to preserving culture and keeping all of these activities and traditions alive. So we are basically the definition of the future. The future, we will be the ones who will be replacing the current generation of leaders and the current generation of population. And so in order to keep something alive, anything for that matter, when it comes to culture and practices, it is very much important for us to play a big role. As an example, when it comes to languages, for example, the measure for whether a language is considered alive or not is when you look into the youth, whether the youth are able to speak the language or not. So similarly, when it comes to situations like this, whether a culture is kept alive or not is determined if their youth are still practicing it or not. So even though for myself, or as Catherine mentioned just now, the Westerners who are not within any form of indigenous ethnicity, we still play a big role in trying to make sure that we are still keeping these practices of not just our ethnic groups alive, but also others. And we can see the same very spirit in, for example, the Arctic Games, whereby they're not only participated by the Inuit groups of the northern North America, but also other parts of the world, including all the way in Europe. And this was also seen in the games organized in Taiwan, where even those all the way from New Zealand were involved and actively participating in the games. So another aspect of preservation of the culture, aside practicing it ourselves, I think Farouk from Wikimedia can perhaps share further about the role that free knowledge plays, and where we ourselves can put into our contributions, even though we're not able to practice. So I know mentioned just now by Sister Fatin that it takes a year to master the sumpit. And also mentioned by Sister Michelina that it is very hard to master a lot of these games. But even though we don't know how to play, or we can't really play the games per se, I think Farouk can share further about how we can contribute to this.
Thank you, Ali. So here at Wikimedia CUG Malaysia, we are part of the bigger community of Wikimedia Foundation. So if many of you do not know, we are the contributors to Wikipedia. And just like everyone else, we are just volunteers, normal people. We help put out knowledge for free. And the role of Wikipedia itself is crucial in helping people understand and learn about indigenous games. Another thing that we could also do is to promote the culture and sports through one of our other platforms called Wikimedia Commons, which is an online repository for images, videos, audios, and on this platform we can record all of the indigenous games, how to play them, take photos of people playing them, so that anyone can learn about the games all over the world. And hopefully through our outreach programs, we hope to improve the knowledge about these games and also talk about it with other people around the world. Right now, Ali himself is in Poland, having our yearly conference for Wikimedia, where people all over the world share their stories, their culture, and all their efforts in sharing knowledge for free. I think that is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you to Ali and Faro for that insight. I would like to invite all speakers to have a small conclusion based on today. Perhaps we could start with Sister Gilarisa. Or if you're not up, we could start with Sister Michelina first. Just a small conclusion based on today.
For me, from this webinar, maybe we can organize more event like this, especially on the culture, not only specifically on indigenous games, but maybe other aspects so that we can preserve the culture of indigenous peoples. That's from me. Thank you.
Let's proceed to Sister Jilarisa. Are you okay now? Or we could skip to Sister Fatin first. Fatin, can you?
Excuse me, what is the question?
Could you have a small conclusion based on today?
Oh, I quite agree with Sister Michelina. So we should organize event like this more and more because we want to make sure that the people and the today's generation, they get to know their traditional games, their indigenous games, and yeah, about their culture. So I guess that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatin. Let's go back to Sister Jilarisa. If you can open your mic.
Yes. For me, I hope all of the younger generation can take an active role in preserving and promoting traditional games in their communities, whether by organizing events, educating the younger generation, or simply playing the games with friends or family. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Sister Jilarisa, as well as all speakers. Before we close this event, can I please invite Brother Ali to explain briefly about wisdom?
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Muna, for hosting the event today. So, as may be known, today's program is part of the larger series of program called Wisdom, or the World Indigenous Peoples Showcase, demonstrating multiculturalism. So basically, our program here today is a program. The whole Wisdom program is a series of multiple different types of programs which aims to highlight, showcase, and also to empower indigenous culture around the world. So this program is conducted in conjunction with the International Day of the World Indigenous Peoples, which is on today, the 9th August. And this is also why we're doing this program today. And this whole program, which ranges from all the way from 23rd July, when it was soft launched, and all the way to 28th November, towards the end of the year, we will be seeing multiple events, which includes discussions, showcases, of course, and also sports, STEM and arts programs. I mean, I saw a lot of suggestions, and I heard some suggestions about conducting these events. Yeah, so we will try to do more of this as we go on, including during this session, during this program, and also certain indigenous outreach projects. So if I may highlight certain programs that we have within the discussion category, first of all, is our program today, our webinar. We will also be having some workshop and impact on stage events during the peak of our program, which will be towards the end of the this series. and expected currently to be around 26th until 28th of November. So during this peak event, we will be showcasing multiple things actually, including some exhibitions where we will be displaying lots of the cultures from all over the world. Of course, mainly the ones from Malaysia, and the indigenous people from all over Malaysia will also be gathering together in one large ceremony. This will be commemorating all of the indigenous cultures around the world, which includes by having some performances and other forms of showcases, and even activities such as sports tournaments itself, like sumpit, for example, and also multiple other things to sort of like dive into and experience this indigenous cultures that we have. And we will also be having one of our partners at IPG Kuala Lumpur. They'll also be having a major event in October, actually, from the 14th to 16th October. And this event would include a lot of multiple different forms of practice, events within itself. So activities as well, which includes some competition for the traditional dance of Sewang, and also a battle of the band, a nice traditional musical competition, and even a competition for the kerchang game, which I think can be highlighted on a later day. There's more into it than just a game. And there will also be some food festival as well to feature some the culinary highlights of the indigenous groups. And so basically throughout these sessions you can find also more information on the Wisdom website, if I may share, which will be you can simply go to rce2g.ium.edu.my/wisdom24. So that's rce2g.ium.edu.my/wisdom24. We will be putting in more information on the website as we go on. But we can learn more about these programs, and we will also be seeing some more explanation about indigenous culture empowerment, indigenous people empowerment during our Isidama colloquium, which will be sorry, I have to check the calendar. Actually next week on the 16th of August at IUM, and the topic will be mainstreaming indigenous people's wisdom and culture. So hopefully through this, aside from what we've learned from this program today, we can learn more from the next session, which will include people representing researchers and community engagers who will be putting all of these matters into discussion. So I think that's basically it. Thank you very much, Sister Muna. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Ali, for that very comprehensive introduction of what wisdom is. Thank you all for the engaging questions and thoughtful discussion. We are now approaching the end of our event. Again, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to all the speakers for their valuable contributions and to everyone who participated today. Thank you once again for joining us today. We will now take a picture of this event. I welcome all to open your cameras so that we may have a brief photography session, please.
Tekan atas yang view tu, tekan view.
Tekan view.
Gallery. Gallery.
Gallery. Okay, if that's all. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. We're wishing you all happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Mute dulu mana? Mute dulu.